Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. It's been a minute since I've recorded. We're in patch 1.10.4 now, and I'm rocking Universal Suffrage, but I'd completely forgotten that we were fighting a war with the Austrian Empire. So let's take a quick look at where we are. Austria only has Hungary on their side, because of course Transylvania is an anarchist commune. And then Russia has Greece, which is my subject, Finland, Afghanistan, and Bukhara, which are their subjects, Marina Kingdom, which is my subject, Baltic Governorates, which is their subject, and Oman, which looks like their subject. Alright, so things are looking pretty good. This force comparison's not great. I'm gonna stay on defense on these fronts here for now, while we strengthen. And then we're gonna get going here. Health system investment decreased. That's curious. Huh. I have a subject that can increase autonomy. Greece could, but their liberty desire is going down pretty fast. So hopefully that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Why did my health system go down? Did my tech change? Let me see. I've got quinine. Quinine is part of the health set. I've got that. I've got pharmaceuticals, which is part of the health set. That's curious. Malaria prevention is part... Okay, here's what happened. They lowered the baseline for health to 1, I think. And now we have... or no, we get 1 for medical degrees. Hold on. We get 1 max health from medical degrees. So the baseline is 0. 1 max health from pharmaceuticals. 1 from quinine. 1 from malaria prevention, and 1 from antibiotics. So we've got 3 of those techs, which means we've got a maximum of 5. Alright, I get it. I get what's going on. Come on, Universal Suffrage. You can do it. I believe in you. Bureaucratic imbroglio, now! Lawmakers working towards the enactment of universal suffrage have found themselves mired in a particularly complex set of bureaucratic proceedings, grinding the work towards reform to a near halt. The fully developed bureaucratic apparatus compares with other organizations exactly as does the machine, with the non-mechanical modes of production. That is to say, the teeth of its individual gears will meet in a chord, or its gears will gnash and churn until it eventually breaks. Damn this labyrinthine legal system. Extra enactment time, reduce enactment success chance, or cut through at least some of the red tape, reduce bureaucracy, increase enactment time. Pops in Western Serbia become more radical. I'm going to go with the second one. That's going to cost me some bureaucracy, but I got plenty of bureaucracy to spare. I am indeed conscripting, so this force comparison is improving over time. Alright, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue. As long as I am holding... As long as the Marina Kingdom is loyal to me, and is held, Austria will not be able to win. So, this shouldn't be too much of a problem. If they try to push in here with this force comparison that's favorable to me, I should be able to win without too many issues. Cash flow is doing well. I am in medium taxation. So, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good about my capacity to win this war. Alright. And here we go. So I could force Wallachia to join me, but I don't necessarily... I don't think I need to do that. And we are on the offense over here. Alright, so Russia decided to go ahead, and that's causing us to be losing battles on this front. However, we are winning... We've got battles going well on both fronts. Yeah, it seems that way. So our force comparisons are improving. So under those conditions, I think I'm okay with going forward. And I'm going to use pillage on that side. I'm going to use pillage on this side. And we'll go forward. What is this? What is going on over here? There's a French uprising in the German-held territories which are in France. So that's interesting. Wow, force comparison really, really improved here on our southern front. So I think we are just crushing through here. Netherlands sides of the French uprising. Okay, all right. Things are going... Germany's down bad. Germany is down bad. How's our cash flow? Investment pool is doing just fine. There was a patch, so I think some things may have like reset that maybe shouldn't have been. But them's the breaks. Industrialists are big mad, huge mad, never been madder, to be honest. They hate universal suffrage, and they hate me for liking it. But that's okay. Them's the breaks. I'm losing this battle. But I'm winning this one? Yes, I'm winning this much larger one. So here's hoping. And I'm winning my battle to widen the suffrage. Alright, hand crank machine gun, that's very good. Need some extra defense, some extra kill rate. Let me just refresh my memory on where we are with tech. Yeah, we're clearing out the tier 3s and we're going for trench works to keep ourselves up to date. Alright, that should be fine. That's completely reasonable. Russia is continuing to advance over here. Now, does Russia have war support protection? They do. And Austria, they do. As long as we're not holding the capital of Hungary or Bohemia, which is over here. Yeah, so we're going to need to go all the way to the Austrian capital. I don't think there's a way we're going to get away with this without that happening. We are moving towards occupation of the Hungarian capital, so that should move reasonably quickly. But we do seem to keep losing battles over here. And I'm not rightly sure why that keeps happening. I think it's like a balance in forces. Alright, so we've got complete occupation of the Hungarian capital. So this is curious because we've... Oh no, we don't have complete occupation yet, but we're working on it. Progress to voting. Excellent. Over here, we've got 40% occupation. Over here, we've got 92%. The endonyms on these locations are actually posing a little bit more of a barrier to me understanding this than I thought. I'm pretty sure this is Transdanubia. And this is, maybe this is Alpold, maybe this is Transdanubia. Because I'm used to thinking this as the baseline of Hungary from Hearts of Iron 4. Alright, and we are winning a battle here. So that should mean occupation of Hungary finishes out very soon. Very soon! Almost there. Alright. Yugoslavia's steel is losing prosperity. Engines are expensive. Can support more declared interests. Let's declare some interests. We got... I'm an interested party in global politics. Let's become interested in Occitania. Alright, looks like German Empire is going to win that thing. Engines are still expensive. I can't do a whole lot about that. I really would love to have electric engines, but there's a whole barrier between me and having that. And it's the electricity hump. I've got to get over the electricity hump. And that's going to take some time. And we're going to kind of see where we are until that. I still have the ability to increase my innovation pretty significantly, actually. So maybe, with our cash flows being good even though we're in a war, maybe it's the right time to build up some more universities. So let's unpause. Let's unpause construction and we'll continue moving forward. Again, cash flow is doing really just fine. Force comparison here in the Austria front is doing just fine. I am now losing money, but again, I've got a very large army fielded, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Was I on speed 2 this whole time? I think I might have been. That was dumb. With friends like these, the powerful clout that the industrialists hold has become a menacing presence over our government. One of our agents has approached us, suggesting a less conventional solution. The door has been opened without anyone noticing it until the wind spreads the documents resting on the wooden desk. Excuse me, a soothing voice announces, carefully picking them up. I hope that my visit doesn't disrupt your important affairs. However, it has been observed that the industrialists are in desperate need of a little guidance towards the right path. That will help both them and us. They surely will need our guidance, lead to events about diminishing the industrialists' power, add securing the power to the journal Yugoslavia, or, this is utterly immoral, the opportunity is dismissed, and we will suppress the industrialists through conventional means. So this is interesting. The industrialists are quite strong, but the trade unions are stronger, and the intelligentsia are pretty strong as well. So this is interesting. I've never encountered a situation like this before. You know what? I'll take it. They surely need our guidance. The Circassian Call, the small Caucasian proto-state of Circassia, which has been embroiled in a long conflict with Russia, has sent a request for military aid to our nation, promising a recognition of their struggle could assist in weakening Russian control over the region. These lands are ours, and we want to rule them with absolute justice. We strive to administer our country fairly. Therefore, we treat our people fairly, and respect the lives and property of those who visit us. We will regard this conflict with interest. We'll have a chance to offer recognition to the Circassian state through a decision, improves relations by 20, or we have no reason to involve ourselves in decays relations. Circassia is a puppet of the British Empire. We have no reason to involve ourselves. I don't know about that, friend. Securing the power completed. Cool. The final word. Our efforts to undermine the industrialists' reputation have been extremely successful. With their influence now weakened, it is time for us to attend to more important matters. Okay, so that's curious. So that was supposed to be an event chain, but it sorted itself out pretty fast. Okay, the door does not open this time. Minutes go by and nothing happens. It's almost a letdown. There's a man in the hallway on the way out, though. He's wearing a velvet frock coat, and you look at him expectantly. Another man goes to him, and they leave together. Nothing happens. People will know who to respect, extra authority. We shall never let them forget who achieved this, extra legitimacy. 15 legitimacy, that's pretty good. Or a good moment to remind them about our laws. 50% chance of extra authority, 50% chance of nothing. I'm just going to go with the legitimacy. Extra legitimacy is really, really nice. I've got a little bit of authority to play with, so I'll throw in consumption tax on coffee. And then we'll chill. I didn't even really look at the event chain. So that was a little odd. I expected that to be, speaking in characteristically American terms, I expected that to be a burger, and it was a nothing burger. So, you know, them's the breaks. We just lost 2 agitators? Just 1. We've got an ethno-nationalist in the armed forces. Surely nothing bad will come of that. Alright, and we are pressing forward in the east, pressing forward in the west. Soon we'll be pressing way further forward in the west, but for now, we're simply winning on all fronts. Beautiful. Alright. Now these units can go going to the main front, and we're probably on our way to ending this war with within a reasonable time frame. We've lost 45k people in battle, and 45k deaths, and 120k wounded. It's a significant loss, but we can handle it. Population growth is really rock solid, although it's going to go down a little bit on account of we're still improving our healthcare institution dropped back a little bit. So that's interesting. I guess that's a little bit of another thing here. All right, so we've got a hold of we've achieved sufficient occupation that Austria is no longer interested in surrendering, or is no longer interested in holding on indefinitely. So we should be able to win this war within a few weeks. Discord within the armed forces. An influential faction within the armed forces has grown frustrated with their co-members' neutrality on the topic of universal suffrage. Themselves in favor of the law, they've now resolved to form a separate political faction intent on passing it. How can you all stand idly by and watch the world pass before your eyes? Have you no sense of honor, of duty to your fellow man? I say nay to such lack of ambition, and I dare say I am not alone in this. With their support, the bill shall pass. 15% enactment success chance. Armed forces slightly weaker. Or the rural folk extend an open hand to these mavericks. 10% enactment success chance. Armed forces significantly weaker. Rural folk stronger. Rural folk are not in an interest group right now. They could join the Liberal Party, though. Let's make the armed forces a lot weaker and the rural folk stronger. I think that might yield good dividends. And we'll see if I'm right about that. Historically, the rural folk have been pretty marginalized in this run. Pretty marginal in this run, but it shouldn't be a problem. Continuing to suppress the Turkish national movement to the greatest degree possible. It is causing obstinance. Ooh. Urbanized Yugoslavia. By the way, our extra legitimacy has pushed us into a righteous government, so prepare to see spikes in loyalism. Have they fixed the chart yet? They have not. Winds of change. Bosnia has come a long way since our attention was first brought to it, going from small houses and scattered farmlands to being on its way to becoming a blooming metropolis. The woman sighs. Her old hand stopped crocheting for a moment. When I was younger, all of this was farmland. Us kids would just play freely in the fields, not having to worry about getting hit by a car or those criminals coming to get us. And we still had time to work. Well, Grandma, now people have even more places to work at. Finally, Bosnia shines like never before. 25% extra loyalists from political movements for 2 years. Or, this is not the end. Bosnia gets 33% increased urban center throughput. I'm going to go with the first one. I think that's reasonable. Again, I don't truck much with urban center throughput. I just don't think it's very good. It never feels like my urban centers need more throughput. And maybe that's silly of me, but that's how I feel. Who owns this automotive industry? It's Sweden. I may need to end our deal granting them the things that I granted them, the investment rights and all that. Ooh. Excellent. Alright, we should really get this war done very, very soon. Let me give it one more week, and then I'll see where we are with tech. Tech is going... Oh, beautiful. 138. Which is actually below our maximum innovation. Hungary is free, Bohemia is free. So this means Germany is likely to take Bohemia, but I could take Hungary. I'm going to begin improving relations. I'm not going to improve relations that much, because I am going to subjugate them, but, you know, eventually, when the time comes. When the time comes, I will subjugate Hungary. Hungary is a major, though. So let's take a quick look. I've caused quite a bit of devastation in these areas. Let's take a quick look. So these areas are homelands for Hungarian, and Romanian. Hungary supporting separatism, not a shock. Hungarian, Romanian, South German, these are not... There are about 3,500 Slovaks, who are West Slavs, in Alfo. Transdanubia, about 20k, about 28k Croatians and 10k Slovenes, but it's not exactly a mandate to seize the territory. I don't think I can righteously conquer this territory. Bohemia, old buddy, old pal, let's be friends. Ya old so-and-so? Oh, Romania is pretty low in relations. Well, we are working on improving them, and that will make their liberty desire go down. It looks like Greece is no longer feeling like they desire to become freer, so I'm feeling pretty pleased with that. Belgium has formed the Supreme Alliance. Doesn't look that supreme. France, who are you in a fight with? You're in a fight with the British. Brazil has formed the Council of Nations. Okay, alright. So things are getting a little weird and silly over there. The United States of Greater Austria. What is happening, Johnny? See, I do wish you could look at all the primary cultures in the country. Hey, there's universal suffrage. Beautiful. That's just beautiful. We're short on authority, so let's go ahead and cut a consumption tax, shall we? That'll put us back fine. Standard of living has dropped a hair, which I don't love. Let's take a quick look at the market. Engines remain... Well, we haven't completed most of these yet. Engines remain expensive. Fine art remains expensive. Are our arts academies fully employed? That's the big question. It seems they are. Let's improve Romania supporting separatism. Romania, we're supposed to be friends. Little buddy, how could you do this? I don't want to double... Well, no, I do want to double the amount of art output because we're bringing in half the art in the country, basically. And art is still quite expensive. Explosives output I can definitely improve. Because I don't want to bring in explosives. I want to bring in... Well, no. I have sulfur in the customs union in Greece. So I don't need to import sulfur. Where are my explosives plants? Here they are. Alright. Eastern Serbia, 3 levels. Kosovo, 3 levels. But I want to go down to my universities. I need a few more levels of universities. These are producing not near... I think they may have halved the amount of innovation that's produced by universities in a recent patch, because I feel like the universities which I've got are not nearly producing the amount of innovation that I had in my head that they would. Alright. I think those numbers look okay. That's 9 more. I'm actually going to throw these in at the top of the queue. And we'll get the motor industries done first. And then when the motor industries are done, we'll throw the arts academies at the top. I may need additional paper mills in order to make this happen, but that's okay. How's the investment pool? Investment pool's doing okay. I think my investment pool got cleared somehow. Dutchy Cindy's. Ooh, self-propelled torpedoes. That's fun. Can I upgrade? Now, just to remind myself, torpedo boats they're not a flat upgrade over destroyers. But I'm on frigates right now. Let's dock. Let's go ahead and dock. And I can't upgrade frigates to torpedo boats. Must have invented monitor. Hold on. I haven't invented monitor. Okay, well that explains that. Wait, so... Hold on. What is happening? I've got self-propelled torpedoes. Okay, hold on. There's too many things. European politics is going buck wild. Alright. We're looking at the fleet. I can't upgrade... Frigates cannot be upgraded to torpedo boats as the unit types are too different. Alright, so... I do want torpedo boats. I am in the process of moving towards researching monitor, but it's going to be some time. So what we'll do is we'll just throw... I'm going to do something unconventional and delete these initially. And then we'll do 20 levels, because I want to even out these levels. Oh no, this is bad. Okay, here's what we're going to do. This is irrational. I'm being irrational. We're going to even out those levels that way. So that's 25 heavy ships, and then we're going to want 35 light ships. So, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. We're going to throw all of that at the top of the queue. And now we're going to take a look at this business going on somewhere. So, we have Sardinia Piedmont going after the 2 Sicilies to humiliate them. Sardinia Piedmont... 2 Sicilies wants to humiliate Sardinia Piedmont back. So fundamentally, that's what this is about. The Spanish are on the Sardinia Piedmontian side to get investment rights in 2 Sicilies. Sardinia Piedmont wants investment rights in Russia. And Belgium wants investment rights in Finland. Now, Russia is on the two Sicilies side. They want to liberate Catalonia and Galicia, which are, this is Galicia and this is Catalonia. So they're trying to break off bits of Spain. That's their secondary goal. So Russia's on this side. And on this side is Spain and Belgium. What kind of a force is Belgium? Belgium is in a war with France. Okay, there's a war going on with France right now. And Belgium is not in there. But there's a separate war between Spain and France kicking off, where Spain is trying to liberate Mascara and Occitania. That's interesting. And on the other hand, France is trying to liberate Cuba and Catalonia. Wow. Oh, Catalonia is a big area. What did I see over here? Was I able to see? Yeah, look at that. Look at that. That's a huge area. Wow. How do I get involved in this? Because I could tip the scales here. I want the French to be on my side. Relations are good. They're quite notorious. Wow. Oof. They're extremely notorious. Maybe I don't get involved over there. They're both notorious. Golly. Everyone's gotten too aggressive this run. They need to dial it back. Maybe I just give this a minute to cool out and let the Europeans shoot at each other. I think that's the plan. Oh, right. I couldn't get involved in that because I'm not located there. But there's a... Liberating Occitania creates a whole situation in France. It really fundamentally changes the shape of geopolitics in the West. The United States of Greater Austria is still a great power, but they're significantly below me in rank. I am thinking about the possibility of changing my army model, because here's the thing. Well, nobody wants that, so we're staying with the National Militia. Whew! Because here's the thing. Rhine interest deactivated. But I'm interested in the Rhine. The trade unions petition the government. Couldn't have come at a worse time. Koloman Mashek, the ever-efficacious leader of the trade unions, has approached the government with a plan to enact poor laws. A successful enactment is certain to contribute to his reputation as an effective politician. A word, please. The minister, halfway out the door, startled at the sound. A man stood in the hallway, bearing a leather-bound dossier. Mashek, he knew. His appearance was unmistakable. Yes, of course, he said. Should I? Mashek gave a nod and handed over the folder. At least 100 pages, judging by the weight. I'm looking to raise the first draft tomorrow, he said. I would be honored to have your support. So, poor laws. Let me take a quick look at this. So here are my options. I can say, yes, we'll see what we can do. I can offer them right of assembly as a compromise, or I can say they must understand the present situation does not allow for this. I'm going to take a quick look at this. So, poor laws is very, very easy to pass. Only the industrialists would be upset. Right of assembly is slightly more difficult, but the primary people who would be upset are the landowners. The petite bourgeoisie would be mad as well. But I think overall right of assembly is better for me. It reduces authority, but it increases tax spread. It doesn't give me as much leverage resistance, which I do like to have. But it's better for the people. Because here's the thing. I don't necessarily want poor laws. Poor laws can make it harder further down the line to get wage subsidies and old age pensions. And I might go with that stuff, I might not. Poor laws also tend to weaken the trade unions, because a lot of people who are really poor vote for the trade unions. So, we're going to go with offer them right of assembly as a compromise. And then we'll get started on that. There's not going to be a movement opposing it, so it shouldn't be a problem. It's going to take a long time to build these naval bases, but I guess we're not in that much of a hurry. Well, we are in a little bit of a hurry. We need to have a fleet that can function at least a little. Ooh, Turkish national movement became a lot weaker. Because of the universal suffrage, probably. Well, that's cool. I'm very pleased with that. So, next election cycle is going to be in... Oh, my goodness. We're heading right there. 1897. Are we in an election? Uh-oh, that's not good. We don't have an election running. We should have an election running, but we're not. Urgh. 97. Oh, maybe this should say 98. Maybe it's every, because I think it's every 5 years. Urgh. Let's hope it's fine. Oil discovered in Wallachia, Tigray National Awakening. Cash flow's looking really, really good these days. So maybe I increase... Well, I don't want to increase the investment pool too much. I am still at, or the construction sector too much. I am still at interventionism, which means the optimal play is intermittent construction. Okay, there's the election. Wow, the trade unions and the intelligentsia absolutely swept it. We could pull the Conservative Party, the armed forces in there, but it would mean a reduction to our legitimacy. Same deal with the rural folk. So I think we'll leave things where they are. Marina attitude improved. They're now loyal. Excellent. Oh, I'm so pleased. Meanwhile, all of Western Europe is on fire, and I am ignoring it, living my best life, treating my people with kindness, style, and grace, loving being a world power here in southeastern Europe, the metropolitan capital of the world, really, if I don't mind saying so myself. Free speech pamphlets. A pamphlet in favor of right of assembly has been circulated illegally across most of our major cities. They print them faster than we can confiscate them. We've pretty much given up on containing it. No point now that it's out there. This will help our cause, increase enactment chance, reduce enactment time. We could use this to push a stronger message. Stronger liberal, anarchist, and radical movement. Extra enactment success chance. I'm just going to go with the first one. I think our movements are doing just fine. We've pissed off our reactionary interest groups pretty significantly here. So, let's not rock the boat too much. I am noticing a little bit of an excess of bureaucracy. I could save it for institutions, but I'm pretty good at institutions, so I might... Let me take a look at my modifiers. A tranquil state. Armored line of battle, that's a naval thing. Reduced bureaucracy, okay. Reduced infamy, decay, extra maneuvers. Beacon of the Balkans, extra influence, extra prestige. So, let's actually go ahead and drop some of these places. We are losing some taxation, but that's due to obstinance. Mostly of, I want to say, our Turkish national movement. Alright, so let's go ahead and we'll just reduce the size of the government sector by just a bit. Not too much. I don't want to. I want to have a little bit of a buffer. But there's no reason to spend money I don't need to. And that's my way of going. There's military statistics. That's very good. That unlocks a new training method for my things that I need to remember not to do. Or that I need to remember not to forget. That I need to not forget to do. There we go. So smart and good at video games. Lots of colonization notifications. Where are we at? Barracks. Advanced tactics training. Advanced tactics training. Here we go. So, what are we looking at? We still have quite a bit of unemployment and quite a reasonably sized peasant population. So I think I'm completely fine with leaving our labor-saving methods where they are. How are we doing with paper? We're doing just fine with paper. Despite the fact that we're building all kinds of new paper costing things. Russia's Yugoslavian fleet is continuing to increase in size. Obviously, we're short on organization right now, but that's because our naval bases haven't completed hiring yet. So, popular playwright endorses reform. In the midst of the debate surrounding right of assembly, one of the country's leading playwrights, strongly associated with the trade unions, has staged a widely acclaimed play, whose politically laden theme makes no secret of the author's desire for the law to be passed. The man's viewpoints may be somewhat partisan, but sir, you cannot argue with his prose. Right of assembly will be on everyone's lips now, 10%. Sure, but 10% more enactment chance. Sure puts the trade unions in a good light, 10% stronger trade unions. Or let's ensure that the play gets a wider international audience, 5% prestige. I'm actually going to go with the prestige. I've got 52% enactment success chance. Very little stall chance, so I'm not too worried about that. Belgium, you want to invest in me. You want to do trade rights. You want to do trade privileges for investment rights. Let's talk Turkey. I don't want to give you investment rights. You don't care about it otherwise. No, thank you. I am looking for the ability to invest in others. I don't wish to be invested in. Wolaita, where are you? Oh, you're one of these small countries in Ethiopia. Neat. I was going after countries down here. Oh, that's right. I'm holding a puppet state over Zulu. That's neat. I forgot about that. My power grows. Low organization in the First Fleet, that's fine. Our man here needs a promotion. A protectionist, a very fine thing for an admiral to be. Relations are better with the Romanians, and that means that Liberty Desire is going down. Let's take a quick look at our subject list here. We'll sort by subject type. Our only protectorate right now is Romania. Everyone else is a puppet. I can safely allow Greece's Liberty Desire to go up. To go up by 10, because they'll be going down in Liberty Desire. That having been said, that army power projection thing still making me nervous. Oil rush subsides. With the groundwork of the Vojvodina oil industry complete, its appeal and promise is waning among those seeking to carve out their own fortune. The nature of these operations is that eventually a few people hold all the cards. The industry lives on, but our hands are played. We are not among the few. But oil will last forever. Oil rush forced on. Reduced standard of living, increased mortality, extra oil industry employees, extra throughput, reduced migration attraction, or shuffle the expertise into manufacturing. 10% manufacturing industry's throughput bonus for 10 years. I think we're going to do the second one. That just seems sensible. Shabamzo. That just seems like the most reasonable way to handle the situation, to be completely honest. So, our infamy is low. I do want to go for a play against Hungary, although they are still technically a major. Grassroots support for law. The political wills and desires of the lower classes will always remain an opaque matter. For whatever reason, support for right of assembly has spread like wildfire across the Yugoslavia, spurred on by charismatic speakers and lively debates in small-time social clubs. They're backing what now? Well, who are we to complain? While their support was never a prerequisite for success, it sure doesn't hurt to have it either. Public enthusiasm expedites reform. Stronger anarchist movement forever. Interesting. Stronger intelligentsia. Or use this common ground to calm the masses. 20% of lower stardom pops in Kosovo become more loyalist. You know, I'm going to use the common ground to calm the masses. I don't necessarily want a stronger anarchist movement. I've never really thought about it. The anarchist movement has been such a non-issue in our country. Wow, France is being invaded by Japan. You get him, Japan. So we're building and going up in cash flow at the same time. I have a very comfortable amount of money. So I think it's time to increase the size of our construction sectors. Let's get most of our areas up to at least 2. And then we'll bring Western Serbia up to 6. And that will put us at 32 construction sectors. And that'll be just fine. I'm going to throw these in at the top of the queue. because I want them done relatively fast, and then I need to figure out what else we need to build. How's the market looking? Market's looking okay. Art situation. Let's set an import tariff on art to support our arts industry. And that means, now that we've built the capacity, where are they? Are they up at the top? I'll never use the filters. Stop telling me to use the filters. I say, as none of you have told me to use the filters. Where are they? I can't believe iron mines are still having a hard time. Yeah, well, they're still producing. They're still producing. They're actually producing quite a bit of art, which is a bit of a shock. Maybe I need to be outputting more art. Bedouin National Awakening, cool. Engines industry still heavily overburdened, so let's go ahead and increase their size, because that's the only thing to do. Let's put another 6 levels in Kosovo, 2 levels in Western Serbia, 6 levels in Montenegro. That just seems like the most reasonable way to do it. Well, the ones in Montenegro are not as profitable. So maybe we don't increase the ones in Montenegro for the moment, and instead we focus on Western Serbia, which are the most profitable. I'll increase the Kosovo ones as well. We'll make a big ol' increase in the motor industries. None of them are ridiculously profitable. Actually, maybe we don't do all of that at once. Maybe we just do 10 levels, because I don't want to make these industries unprofitable, and that can really happen. Now, our fleet is still not doing super hot. Torpedo boats are having a really hard time hiring, and I'm not sure why that is. Let's increase military wages. The cost is trivial. What if we increase government wages? No, that's not wise. Ooh, right of assembly advanced, increasing more supporters. We're up to 66% success chance. I'm feeling extremely confident in my ability to satisfy my trade unions on this front. Now, we are spending money, and that's just fine. We need to be producing more ironclads. So, let's go ahead. Well, hold on. Maybe we need to subvene ironclads? We're producing as many ironclads as we need, so never mind. Explosives. We did increase the size of the explosive industry. We're still bringing in quite a bit of that. We're exporting a lot of fertilizer. We can increase the size of our paper industry. So let's go ahead and cue that in. Let me see. Croatia is a good place to build up a good solid paper industry. We'll build up to 8 levels. Slovenia will build 2. Macedonia will build 2. Dalmatia will build 2. Let me see. That's actually a pretty significant increase. So I think that's probably actually more than we need. So maybe, yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Everyone needs paper. The Brodna Savi Advocate, an explicitly partisan newspaper founded by members of the Turkish national movement in Brodna Savi, has published its first issue. Between advertisements and political cartoons, it hosts a ruthless critique of government policy. There was a certain brilliance to it. By printing it on the cheapest paper, by skimping on ink, by flooding it with advertisements and large text, one could produce a profitable paper for only a penny per copy, whilst its competitors sold for 5 to 10 times that amount. By making the paper relentlessly and shamelessly endorse a certain viewpoint, one could have every working person in the city aware of it by evening. If one's competitors refused to stoop that low, they would become responsible for their own suffocation. How long can a partisan paper last? Stronger Turkish national movement? Or is that so? Deny them a printing license, weaker movement, increased activism. Where is the Turkish national movement? They're at 51% activism. I'm going to allow them to get a little stronger. With the understanding that their activism going down. If I can get their activism down just a little bit more, I will, they'll be good to go. Now, where can I should be able to get If I go to total separation of church and state, I'll be able to increase the communist uprising in Apulia. That's fun. If I go to total separation of church and state, that'll improve the standards of living for Turks in the country, and that'll be better. But on the other hand, I do want to... My goal is to keep our values and all that, which we are doing. So I don't want to completely... I don't want to liberalize completely, because we are role-playing a country focused on our own nationhood. Oh. I'm sitting here going, why did I lose those interests? It's because my navy got smaller. There we go. So, the United States is going after the Dutch East Indies. What are these rankings like? I'm in 4th position. Ahead of me is Great Britain, German Empire, and Hindustan. It's funny, I think of the United States as being very far ahead of me, and they are economically. Their GDP is... well, it's only about 20% larger than me. Ooh, GDP ownership. That's interesting. What's my GDP ownership? Oh, it's not great. I need to nationalize all these Swedish businesses. Against the odds. Despite not enjoying full rights under Yugoslavian law, some wealthier Turkish people have begun moving into neighborhoods and frequenting establishments they would normally be excluded from. If we want our children to have a future, this is where we should raise them, he said. I want them to live somewhere safe. She crossed her arms. Have you seen the looks we get? When people talk about safe, they don't mean safe for us, they mean safe from us. We made some new regulations to keep the peace, extra radicalism from discriminated pops. 2% of Turkish pops in Yugoslavia become more radical. Or, they've fairly earned their success with all that entails. Angrier and weaker petite bourgeoisie. 2% of Turkish pops in Yugoslavia become more loyalist. I'm actually going to do the second one. Believe it or not, my petite bourgeoisie can be mad all they like. They will be happier as time goes by, but more importantly, this will weaken my Turkish national movement, and I want to treat... part of the thing about Yugoslavia, the project, is our peoples have been treated quite badly by other peoples and the empires which represented them for a long period in history. And I, for my part, would prefer to break that cycle to an extent and have Turkish people be treated better in Yugoslavia than the way the South Slavs were treated when they were part of a Turkish empire. New neighbors, new grudges. A minority group of Ukrainians has recently settled in the state of western Serbia, seeking a better future. However, the local Bosniak elites are stirring up resentment, claiming the Ukrainian newcomers will destroy the traditional way of life. They don't belong here. Our Bosnian customs, our way of life, they'll be lost if we let the Ukrainians settle, claimed a prominent landowner, his words echoed in the taverns and markets of Belgrade. The newcomers, hopeful but weary, whisper of opportunity but face closed doors and hostile stares. The Ukrainian people must accept their lot. 20% of upper stratum pops from the Slovene, Croat, Bosniak, and Serbian cultures become more loyalist. 25% of Ukrainian pops become more radical in Western Serbia. Acceptance of Ukrainian pops is reduced by 5%. First of all, Ukrainians are currently at 3, able to get up to 5. We must foster harmony between peoples, whether Ukrainian or Bosniak. 25% their acceptance is reduced. 50% chance their acceptance is improved by 5. And 25% chance it's improved by 15. 5% of pops in Western Serbia become more radical. Or the old Bosniak ways cannot continue to dominate our modern nation. 20% of Serbian, Croatian, Slovene, and Bosniak upper stratum pops become more radical. Acceptance improves by 20. So Ukrainians are Danubian Eastern Slavs. They share a heritage group and a language group with us. I'm gonna go with the third one. I think increasing their acceptance is good, and I can take that radicalism increase. It's not that much. Let's see what other countries are looking at in terms of GDP ownership. Huh. So I own next to none of Swedish GDP. So really, they're benefiting from this a lot more than I am. So, Netherlands wants to sway us, and they're play against the United States. You want us to fight the USA for you, Netherlands? This is all in the They're going for the transfer of the Dutch East Indies. Holy heck. No, thank you. Extreme as that is, I don't think this is our business. Hey, law progressed to voting. Wonderful. We're nearly there. Southern Europe is Yugoslavia's bag. Everywhere else, not my business. A slight shortage of bureaucracy. Do we have a bureaucracy thing decaying? Not really. Okay, no, we're back to normal. We're good to go. I want my help, but I don't want to get involved. I don't... This is not a Yugoslav fight. So here's what I'm going to do. Relations are good. Let's see if we can't achieve something useful. It doesn't seem like it. So Sweden, it's been fun, but this treaty is no longer of use to us. And what we're going to do now is we're going to nationalize some of these industries. Alright, so building those non-Yugoslavian owners. So and what we're going to do is we're going to sell those to we're going to be selling these to local owners. We are spending money, and we are decaying our relations with Sweden, but them's the breaks. Oh. We should be careful, though. What should I focus on? Let's focus on industry. It's costing us a lot of money. But them's the breaks. Whew. It sure is. Wow. Yeah, we definitely need to nationalize military industries owned by other countries. That's not something we want. Where'd the rest of them go? I may be stupid. Alright. Nationalize one level of arms industries. Alright, sulfur mines. We can't nationalize these because they're in Greece, which is fine. There's the monitor. Wonderful. There's the culprit. Grab him. Yugoslavian fleet is still having a little bit of a hard time hiring here. That's a little curious. But them's the breaks, I guess. So it'll take some time for these buildings to flow into the hands of Yugoslavian industrialists, but hopefully that will make things better long term. Alright, now, we are still looking at Owners outside of Yugoslavia. Okay. Motor industries are good to go. Shipyards. Istria has a Swedish-owned shipyard. There's another law advancement. That's fine. Railways. Ooh, a lot of these are owned outside the country. Oh, that's in Svanland. Hold on. Location in Yugoslavia, please. Cool. Montenegro. Northern Thrace. They're owned by Russia. That's fine. Bulgaria, they're owned by Russia. Thessaly. Now, I am costing myself bureaucracy here, so let's go ahead and build a little bit more government admin just to make this plausible and reasonable. This is going to take time, obviously. Railways seem good to go. Ports. Russian-American company owns a lot of these. But let's at least nationalize the ones that are held by Sweden. Wow. Look at that port usage in Istria. Are these subsidized? They're not even. Bulgaria. One level of Swedish-owned ports. Montenegro. One level of Swedish-owned ports. And again, I can't nationalize the ones owned by Russia because they have investment rights in me still. Now this is interesting. Actually, a lot of our arts academies are Swedish-owned. A little bit of a shock. Oil rigs. Ooh, don't love some of our oil rigs are not nationally owned. And again, I apologize if this is not exactly written gameplay, but it's what I gotta do. Munitions plants in Kosovo. Let's get these nationalized. Artillery foundries in Banat. These nationalized. Shipyards in Thessaly can't nationalize because they're owned by Russian investors. Alright, steel mills. Most of these are owned by my very own steel company. Bosnia will do the same. And now we'll start improving relations with Sweden. It's not great what I'm doing. It could be better, but it is what it is. So how are we with GDP ownership? Not that great. There's still a lot of levels of our GDP owned by Sweden. Now, Now, a lot of our key industries are being privatized as we speak, and that is drawing cash from the investment pool into the government coffers. But hopefully that will continue to work. That may strengthen our industrialists some, but that's okay. It's not a tragedy. Let's go back to the building industry. Trade centers, I don't know that I need to worry about that. So let's look at what else. I know logging camps, there's a lot of those owned by Sweden. And there's right of assembly. Wonderful. We completed a journal entry called Freedom of Thought. The thought, the word, and the ideal. Those who seek to think boldly and freely are increasingly finding Yugoslavia to be one of the safest places to explore their ideas. Have you read the filth laid out in the supposed poem about the Yugoslavian emperor? Outrageous. Outrageous. Written by one of his countrymen, too. Can you imagine? I got a copy for myself. Someone needs to keep an eye on these literary libertines. The Yugoslavian government certainly isn't. A utopia for the modern artist, extra arts academies throughput adds the new Colossus to the Journal of Yugoslavia, or a place where research is unimpeded by tradition, 20% university throughput adds the new Colossus to the Journal of Yugoslavia. I'm going to go with the second one. I love getting extra research. Let's take a quick look at what the new Colossus is. I'm not going to be pursuing this entry, but it's something I could do. Freedom of trade, we don't have free trade yet. The new Colossus. People of all races and creeds will be welcomed in our free and open society. We'll complete if we've enacted total separation of church and state or freedom of conscience. Slavery banned, multiculturalism, and no migration controls. Average standard of living is greater than or equal to 12. So we're not going to end up doing this. We're not going to go to multiculturalism. We're doing fine where we are. But this is something that we can look into. Now, Hungary has become a minor power. Our truce with Hungary lasts another 35 months. We are improving relations, but not fast. So, let's go ahead. How's Romania? Romania is getting down to the point where we could turn them into a puppet state, which is just fine. Greece is also falling in liberty desire pretty significantly. Feeling pretty good about that. Let's do a little bit more nationalization. Is there a nationalize button in here? Oh, I can nationalize. Wow, I am so smart. Oh, so good at stuff. Nationalize. 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 Wow, there's a lot of wood. There's a lot of wood being produced by Swedish-owned businesses in Yugoslavia. Obviously, this is reducing their profitability, but we need to get them in the hands of privately owned. We need to get them privately owned by Yugoslavians. That's the way we're going to become a great empire. I'm not going to do any more nationalization. I'm damaging relations with Sweden by a lot already. I am going to build a little bit more government admin just to give myself the ability to run all these businesses until I can privatize them. We are paying some interest on the debt that we took on in order to nationalize these businesses. But again, privatizing them will bring in cash flow, and that's good. So, I'm going to turn off the new Colossus. Or unfollow the new Colossus, just because I don't need it. And now if you're hearing another sound, that's me refilling my water bottle from the water I've had here ready to go this whole time in the inevitable event of me finishing the water that was already in my water bottle. Oh, golly, a bunch of rivalries have broken. What has happened over here? Something crazy? Oh, look at this. Algeria has become free. You get him, Algeria. It's probably because France is losing a huge war, and they couldn't be arsed to keep Algeria. Tunisia is a subject of the German Empire. That's interesting. We're still getting to the point where we can reduce Yugoslavia's liberty desire. And, you know, we're getting to the point where we could take over Hungary. The United States of Greater Austria is conciliatory towards us. They are still a great power. Karelian national awakening. So Russia's going to start to be weakened by these many and various national awakenings. Our investment pool is continuing to increase in size significantly. You know, there's a part of me that's starting to wonder if it wouldn't have been better to wage a war to get them, to get those buildings nationalized. I mean, Tunisia is improving relations. Well, I'm delighted to hear it, Tunisia. This is partially a consequence of us having allowed our infamy to decay, because now everyone's like, oh, the Yugoslavians, they're chill now. Turkish national movement organizes in northern Thrace. Organizers affiliated with the Turkish national movement have embarked upon a focused campaign to inspire support for multiculturalism in northern Thrace. Residents of every region in the world like to say that their home has a long and unique history of tight-knit community. The organizer almost agreed. The problem was, of course, that said community often did not extend to outsiders. He'd been thrown out on his ear more times than he could count, but he persisted nonetheless. If he could introduce the right phrase into the right circles, perhaps even an idea that had been rejected out of hand at first would begin to find purchase. There are plenty of willing ears in northern Thrace. Northern Thrace gets extra pop political strength and radicals from political movements, and the Turkish national movement increases by 10% in power. Or they must be concerned with far more grounded things. Half the modifiers to northern Thrace, no increase to the power of the Turkish national movement. I'm going to go with the second one. I don't want a strong Turkish national movement. Industrialists, why are you so mad? Appeasement of political lobbies. Interesting. You don't like protectionism. You don't like public health insurance. You don't like migration controls. You don't like compulsory primary school. And you're still big mad about the census suffrage thing. Let me see. What group are you? It's the Yugoslavian Austrian Society. I can't believe we have one of these. Even funnier, I kind of can't believe I'm thinking about, actually, you know, improving relations with the Austrians, but I need a little bit more government. My plan to privatize all these businesses has so far not succeeded, or it hasn't succeeded yet. We are privatizing. Hold on. It's located in Yugoslavia, non-Yugoslavian owners. Let's do all owners for a second. Wow, yeah, a lot of these are just owned by the government still, and I can't find buyers for them among the people. So that's interesting. That's interesting. My logging industry is almost completely owned by the government of Yugoslavia. That's curious. I don't rightly know how to get those privatizing better. Munitions plants and arms industries, those are fine. Anything that's... Suppose my oil rigs I could allow to be purchased by outside investors. Privatize these, although there's not a lot of oil demand in my market. Let's allow the... let's allow our debt to be worn away. We're still paying... we're funding lobbies in Greece. I'm like, why are we paying a bunch? But it's the lobbies we're funding in Greece. How much are we getting from Greece as a subject? Not that much. We're funneling it all back into Greece. But that's keeping them loyal, and that's really good, because keeping Greece loyal is important. How are we doing with tech growth? We are at our innovation cap, finally, and we're seeing a small amount of unspent innovation flow into tech spread. That's very good. Romania is finally able to be a puppet. We'll reduce subject payments, same as I always do. And that's very good. That makes them our color, which is very important for me. The German flu. A massive outbreak of an especially deadly strain of flu has broken out in Bavaria. It threatens to spread globally, potentially escalating into a global pandemic. The epidemic of influenza, like the specter of death, was upon us almost overnight. And 3 days after the disease was made reportable by the Board of Health, our hospital was full to overflowing with victims of the pestilence. I hope it doesn't reach Yugoslavia, so we're going to need to deal with that. Gosh, dang it. United States of Austria is trying to make Hungary a heckin' The heck, it protect. I was gonna do that. Austria. Nah, it's fine. It's fine. It'll be fine. Should improve relations with Sweden so that they don't get really mad as I continue to nationalize all of their businesses. Am I making any dividends from those businesses? I am. I don't wish to be, but I am. So that's at least a little bit curious. Private queue. Foreign queues is building in me. It's Russia. Empire of Japan sides with Hungary. You get them, Empire of Japan. Empire of Japan doesn't have really a way to reach them. Perhaps I could solve that. Hey, Japan, you want military access? Let's draft a treaty. Can't do it. No such thing as like transit rights or something? There is transit rights. Oh, that's only trade. Alright, never mind. I'm thinking of Hearts of Iron 4. But it's not in our wheelhouse. Alright, well I'm almost done chipping away our national debt at this point. So come on, Germany. Germany. Do the right thing. Do the right thing, Germany. Oh, I could go after Transylvania. So, okay, talk to me, Transylvania. What's going on with you? You have a lot of peasants. You don't have a population crush. So that's not too bad. Standard of living's not ideal, but you're doing fine. You're an anarchist commune, right? Yeah. You're fine. You're completely fine. Would anyone stop me if I turned you into a protectorate, though? I don't think so. They're collectivizing agriculture. I'm gonna let him go. You get him, Transylvania. Who's running things over there? Representative Conrad Seltsam. You know what? You get him, Conrad. Okay, so what else does my market require? Because that's really gonna. Okay, all right. We're doing all right for engines. Am I subvening export of engines? I am a little bit, but it's to keep our engines industry productive. Opium. We don't produce any of our own opium at this stage, do we? I could take some territory in the Ottoman Empire, but I don't wish to do that. We're still not producing all of our own explosives. So, let's go ahead and start working on that. Or, well, continue working on that, really. Fertilizer plants are doing all right. So let's go ahead and increase the size of the Kosovo explosives plants and the Eastern Serbia ones, and we'll just build 4. Is this wise? No, I think we're going to increase the Bosnia ones as well. It's about a 30% increase, and that should cover the imports that we're importing. I'm going to set a tariff on imports to help our factories continue to grow, and that should be just fine. Tools are doing just fine. I do have a very aggressive trade policy on that front. Meat's doing okay. Liquor's doing just fine. I'm actually not subvening the export of liberties. Oh man, I had a little American Freudian slip there of liquor. Let's go ahead. How much of our own dyes are we producing right now? We do have some of our own dye planted. Do we not? Are we only producing dyes in synthetics plants? I think we are. And these are all owned by the Russians, probably. No, the Swedes. So that's interesting. We don't currently have the capacity to produce our own dyes. We don't even have rubber mastication. Once we got trench works, we'll be circling back to it. So here's what we'll do. I'm actually going to rework Balinese National Awakening. This stuff. I'm going to go straight to aniline when rubber mastication is finished. Then I'm going to snag electricity. After that, we'll go for vulcanization, open hearth process, and threshing machines. And then, that'll be the end of the tier 3s. And from that point, here's what I'm thinking. I really want electric railway, but I also kind of desperately need radio. So we'll do electrical capacitors to electric railways, telephone to radio, and then combustion engine, and that helps with a bunch of things. But having electric railways is what's going to be needed for our motor industries to continue to be productive. Next, we'll circle back to military. Once we've got those things, we'll snag sea lane strategies. No. Well, it's already in there. We'll do sea lane strategies, defense in depth, and if we don't have automatic machine gun yet, we'll go to that next. And that'll be just fine. We've already got wargaming spreading, so that's good. I think right now, in terms of what the country needs most, it's actually greater investment into research. So, let's continue to increase the size of our universities. We'll do 1 more in Western Serbia, 2 in Slovenia, 2 in Eastern Serbia, 2 in South Serbia, 2 in Vojvodina, 2 in Albania, and 2 in Slavonia. That'll be an additional, let me see, 13 levels, which is, you know, not a huge amount, but that'll improve tech spread. Now let me just take a quick look at where we are with tech spread. Production, what do we have spreading? There's no way we're ahead in production. Okay, we got rubber mastication spreading. Society for spread, we've got camera running, which is fine, and then military spread, we got wargaming. So that should be just fine. The German flu spreads. Alright, the German flu has appeared in Croatia. The pandemic is quickly becoming a global crisis. It was truly like unto the rush of the wounded from the field of battle, and the house was filled to... I don't think cutting his leg off is going to solve the flu, guy. I don't know where you studied medicine, but clearly it wasn't in a good Yugoslavian university. It was truly like unto the rush of the wounded from the field of battle, and the house was filled to capacity almost at once. Within a few days, it was necessary to open a ward in a college gymnasium, which was equipped with beds from our students' dormitory. When will this plague end? German flu appears in Croatia, increasing mortality for the next 6 months. The state may get hit by further waves of the pandemic. German flu appears in Bosnia, increasing mortality for the next 6 months, may get hit again. And the flu pandemic journal has added pandemic responses available, which can mitigate the effects and spread. So, let's take a look at this. Flu pandemic. A deadly flu pandemic is ravaging the globe. The government's response to this plague will determine the fate of thousands, perhaps millions of lives. Will complete if all Yugoslavian states do not have the flu pandemic mortality debuff. So, let's decide on a pandemic response. The government must determine its response to the flu pandemic that threatens to engulf the nation. Stricter measures will have a cost, but will save lives. By authority and direction of the State Board of Health, there will be no classes in the university beginning at noon today. Students are forbidden to leave the town. To do so would help spread the infection. Impose a strict lockdown and close non-essential businesses. States are much less likely to experience successive waves. Flu mortality is greatly reduced for successive waves. Reduced businesses throughput by 50%. Mandate health measures such as distancing and protective masks. States are less likely, but not much less likely, to experience successive waves. Flu mortality is reduced for successive waves, not reduced greatly. They get 25% in businesses throughput, minus 25% businesses throughput instead of minus 50%, or we can't risk harming the economy, States will always experience successive waves of the flu, up to 4 waves. The mortality may be very high. I'm going to impose a strict lockdown. I've got to keep my population up. I am not a large country. I am not a country with a huge population like some of my neighbors. Germany is sitting on 63 million. France on 24 million. Occitania on 12 million. I'm actually exceeding Austria, but that's for good reason. I need to increase the size of my government sectors in places where the flu isn't, because I need to be able to have the necessary administrative capacity. Attack National Awakening. Let's... Just looking at making sure I don't have anywhere with 2 levels. Alright. 8 levels should be more than enough. Obviously, this is going to be pretty brutal on our... Oh! Look at this. Bohemia is experiencing a Moravian uprising. The Moravian uprising is anarchist. Wild. So I will say, I've been really happy with the way this German flu spreads. No! It's in Istria now. I'm not going to read this event more times. The flu's going to Istria and Slovenia. It's only going to get worse as time goes by. Hungary is almost assuredly going to lose this, which sucks for me because I wanted to seize them. I forget what lobby demand that was. Probably the Anti-Ottoman Association. Whoops! Whoopsie! Alright. Now. Huh. Interestingly, nobody... Oh, interesting. So, normally, the trade unions would prefer a character with... Or not prefer. Normally, their baseline position is they're for the right to associate. But because they're headed up by a radical, they're not. It's really interesting. Is there a trade union's guy that I can pull in? Only show available. Only show trade unionists. Labor movement, radical movement. So you're a radical. You're a social democrat. You like right to associate. Adelaide Roper. What am I doing in terms of women's rights? I have legal guardianship, though, so I'm not going to be able to put her in charge of the movement. You're a modernizer. No position on labor rights. So if I bring you in, you'll be fine. Marcos Antonopoulos. Greek, definitely. August Verbeek. You're Belgian. Or if you're Flemish, rather. So I've got some interesting options. I'm thinking about bringing in Antonopoulos, although I'm currently in an extremely legitimate government, and I could keep that government extremely legitimate if I play my cards right. I'm upsetting the apple cart a little bit, but obviously our man Mashek isn't. Although our man Mashek is he's Croatian. And I would like a Croatian heading as our head of government. So I'm gonna keep him. I'm gonna keep him where he is. Doing a lot better for bureaucracy. That's very good. Petit bourgeoisie are mad now. They're reducing my influence and increasing radicalization based on discrimination. The petit bourgeoisie are going to be happier later. They're mad about the right of assembly and they're mad about universal suffrage. But again, radicalism is going down. Number of peasants and unemployed actually seems to kind of be increasing in the country, which I don't love. And I think what that means is I need to increase the size of the construction sector. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll start in our kind of core areas. So we'll start with Eastern Serbia. Where are we? 2 levels in Eastern Serbia, 2 levels in Bosnia, 2 levels in Kosovo. Do I have no construction industry in Kosovo? I don't. What about Montenegro? 2 levels in Montenegro. We'll put, actually, 4 levels in Kosovo. Alright, and these can go at the very top of the construction queue. It's going to be a really significant increase, but it's going to be worth it. It's going to increase the increase of our economy. Let's throw an additional 2 levels. Oh, there's no construction industry in Bulgaria either. 4 levels here, and 2 levels of government admin. Hopefully our strict lockdown will prevent the flu from spreading too much. Gosh dang it, speak of the devil. The flu is spread into Banat in eastern Serbia. Alright, so we're having a problem. Repealing the Contagious Diseases Act. Feminist groups led by Radomir Ajic demand the repeal of the Contagious Diseases Act in Slovenia. They decry the brutal treatment of women by police and inhuman conditions in lock hospitals. Even women with no connection to prostitution are routinely confined against their will. Men police lay hands upon us. By men we are examined, handled, doctored. In the hospital it is a man again who makes prayer and reads the Bible for us. We are had up before magistrates who are men, and we never get out of the hands of men until we die. Repeal the acts. Trade Unionists happy. Slovenia loses reduced standard of living for the lower strata. Repeal the acts across the nation. Trade unions still become happy. Armed forces and Orthodox Church unhappy. It only happens in Slovenia. Or renew the acts. Trade unions stay. Trade unions become mad. It looks like we only have them in Slovenia, so I'm just going to repeal them. I'm going to repeal them across the nation. If we had them anywhere else, that should make them go away. I'm okay with my armed forces being a little bit salty about that. Things will be better later. My interest groups will be feeling better as time goes by. Maybe if I pick a fight with the Ottomans, things will be better. Who's in my anti-Ottoman association? My petite bourgeoisie and my armed forces. Maybe I should look to that. Maybe I should concern myself with that. Wow. Okay. Bureaucracy is doing really, really bad. Again, it's because of the pandemic. How much longer? How long have our states had? Has it not hit Dalmatia? I guess it hasn't. Croatia is the one it originally hit. Yeah, okay, 2 more weeks. Alright, so we should be able to weather it. I shouldn't need to build too much more bureaucracy. Because it should be sorting itself out in good time. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on continuing economic growth. Who's fighting who? We have Hungary. We have a Hungarian socialist revolt, in which an Austrian-involved revolt. Armenian national awakening. Happy times. Alright. So, alright, Croatia is clear of the flu, which means Slovenia should be 6 more weeks. But more importantly, that means our bureaucracy is back to positive, with minimal long-term impact to our everythings, and that's what matters. Minimum long-term impact. Slovakian uprising as well. Oh my goodness. Hungary's breaking up. Hungary's exploding. Aotearoa backs down. It's a South Island uprising. Interesting. So South Island is a free communist state. Oh, maybe not. A free anarchist state. Based. Abner Randolph exiled from the United States. Cool. So, let's take another look at our market and see where we can improve things. Arts academies are still kind of shockingly low. We're getting a lot of imports. So let's... Oh, but I just discovered camera, so let's start taking photos. Shazam. We'll build one more level of each of these. I think there's an event that we'll build 2 more levels. I think there's an event that happens at once you've got a level 5 Arts Academy, so we'll work on that. Let's take a quick run. Oh, we've got market access issues, actually, in some areas. No, this is because of the pandemic. Yeah, it's because of the pandemic. So those are fake market access issues. They're pretend. The German flu spreads to South Serbia and Kosovo. Brutal. Alright, so I can't worry about market access that much. It's a hard time to be managing our economy. We're bringing in a lot of coffee. We produce a ton of our own coffee, though, don't we? I guess not that much. We're producing quite a bit in Madagascar. Let's produce a little bit more in Dobruja. We produce quite a bit in Albania. So let's build that up. Am I using... Yes, I am using automatic irrigation. Alright. Let's go ahead and slap an import tariff on coffee. And what that's going to do is that's going to motivate... That's going to boost up our local coffee production really, really significantly. So that's a good amount of construction in the pot, but I still need more. Wood is doing just fine. Hardwood is doing just fine. We're actually exporting so much hardwood, it's kind of bananas. The German flu spreads to Western Serbia and Vojvodina. Oh, that hurts. Those are my bureaucratic centers. We're still exporting nearly all of our wine, which is just fine, I guess. Let's take a quick look at the price of transport around the country. Now, a couple of these areas, the price of transport is really high because of the pandemic. Oh, Dobruja has no railway. That's a little shocking. And there's the rubber mastication tech. Okay, so transport's reasonably affordable across the board. So what I can... That does mean I have the capacity to increase... to implement some labor-saving methods, but I don't necessarily think that that's the right call here. My economy is very... Could certainly use more... I am producing enough jobs to employ most of the pops that my country outputs if I continue on my present course. Because mortality is pretty low because of my health system, and standard of living is pretty alright. The Anti-Mask League, gosh dang it. Ilya Isakovic has formed the Anti-Mask League in opposition to our pandemic measures. They dispute the effectiveness of our policies and demand that we revoke them for the sake of the struggling economy. Wear a mask can save your life. The emergency that now confronts our country is beyond the facilities of the health department. Those who do not wear them get sick. The man or woman or child who will not wear a mask is now a dangerous slacker. Ignore the League. Industrialists mad. Abandon the anti-plague measures. Industrialists happy, but we stop being and shut down. Or discredit the League with medical science. Industrialists mad, industrialists weaker. Interesting. So we have this due to having high investment in our health system. Discredit the League with medical science. Cool. That's interesting. Alright, ooh, and here we go. Establish the photographic arts. Captured light and shadow. The interest in photographic arts throughout Yugoslavia has spawned many new artistic movements experimenting with the technology. It can perhaps seem too harsh to capture reality as the human eye perceives it without any of the love or mercy of the human heart, softening the image. However, by moving that responsibility away from the artist to the observer, We hope to make people more aware of the contents of their own hearts. This should be a new tool for reporters everywhere, extra text spread for society. It should be used to capture the beauty of Yugoslavia, extra migration attraction. Or we should put our efforts towards making these pictures come alive, extra progress towards film. Text spread for society is good. I'm going to take that. All my society advancement is in text spread right now, so I need to be conscientious about that. My investment pool is still incredibly small. Golly, we are exporting a lot of stuff, but I just need to export more. We're still bringing a lot of sulfur in. So I think I'm going to slap a tariff on there. And I'm going to sulfur max in Styria Elada. And how much bureaucracy, or how much infrastructure is available? Oh, plenty. All right. So I don't need to build additional railways here. So for now, what else is useful to my economy? Let's throw an export subvention onto wood. Hopefully that'll make our logging industry more productive. We now have a radical party and we're in an illegitimate government. The intelligentsia want to join the Liberal Party, which has the industrialists in it. That's extremely curious. Wow. Wow. Okay. Are we in an we're in an election cycle. So okay, let's take a quick look at where things are with the election. So the Radical Party is projected to win 35% of the vote with minus 48% of the momentum. Which isn't bad. We're in an illegitimate government. I can live with an illegitimate government for a little while. On the other hand, I can live with an illegitimate government for a little while. I want the Radical Party to continue to get stronger, and I think it will during the election cycle because their current momentum is really low and they're still holding a commanding lead. So I think this will be good. The German flu spreads. When will the plague end? It's now in northern and western Thrace. Unfortunate. The Western Thrace campaign. The government's friendly relationship with Russia, an infamous country with a horrible reputation, has been the subject of sharp criticism and strong rhetoric from leading opposition candidates. To think that the name of Yugoslavia, not due to any real necessity but purely from cynical diplomatic gestures, should be associated with the ghastly crimes such as those perpetrated by Russia. I tell you now we must pursue a new foreign policy, an ethical foreign policy. What good is all this if we cannot look at ourselves in the mirror without shame? Perhaps the speaker from the Liberal Party has a point. Reduce momentum for the radicals, extra momentum for the liberals, or if the government distances itself from Russia, the Liberal Party's arguments will be undercut, deteriorates relations by 30. I've got to go with the second one. Sorry, Russia. I guess relations will have to be just amicable for now. So this election cycle is going to be tough on the country, but we will emerge stronger, hopefully. Russia sides with Bohemia in something. Oh my goodness, Bohemia is having a tiny socialist revolt. Wow. So this is interesting. So we've had a phenomenon that many, myself included, have described as Balkanization in Europe, but it hasn't been in the Balkans. It's been in Central Europe. Italy continues to be weak. The good old days. When invited to give a speech on behalf of the Conservative Party, Božidar Plečnik, I think, began extolling the virtues of a strong home, strong borders, and strong men. The public reception was mixed. Truly, I dare say the men are no longer men. They're coddled with books, as if those are any substitute for real adventure. Their mothers swaddle them in cotton and silk, only for them to be henpecked by their wives. And heaven forbid they take a pint of beer, one sip, and they need their fathers to carry them home. Won't someone think of the children, extra momentum for the conservatives? Our rhetoric cannot disguise what Plechnik wants. Reduce momentum for the conservatives, and he loses a bunch of popularity. I'm going to go with the second one. That's just fine with me. And I need to continue to concentrate momentum in the hands of the Radical Party. Hopefully we can make this work. We could be down real bad, but we'll see. Corsica backs down. That, I wasn't paying attention to that. I'm thinking about maybe engaging in some adventurism in Italy. Two Sicilies is an insignificant power. What if we made them a subject? Mexico would fight us. Brazil might fight us. Hindustan might fight us. Now, I don't think I could take Hindustan. Because Hindustan is actually an enormous world power. Most of whose GDP is owned by, presumably, the British. Let's take a look at their military. I do have skirmish infantry. I never hit the upgrade all units button. I need to do that. Well, maybe we'll take the two Sicilies later on. Right now, I want to wait and figure out what's going on with all this business in what was once the United States of Greater Austria, because right now there's a whole bunch of stuff happening. The German flu spread. Well, here it is. Bulgaria and Eastern Serbia. That's a shame. I think Eastern Serbia was already hit. Regardless, we're doing pretty okay overall. Now, I think I need a little bit more construction going. We're bringing in a lot of sugar, which, in my humble opinion, we don't need to be. Let's throw an import tariff on sugar. And hopefully that should allow our wheat, our farms to be more profitable. We are producing as much. Oh, we could focus production on sugar. That's a thing we can do, but it would be less productive than what we're currently doing. Let's throw a few more levels of farms into construction. Just to work with that, I think we'll alter our fruit policy as well. Fruit's actually moderately expensive. I've already got an import tariff on fruit. Well, maybe we'll leave that the same for now. Right, and all of our dyes come from North Madagascar. Can I build more dye plantations in North Madagascar? I really can't. We've kind of maxed out the place. The only way is if I reduce the size of other industries. What about South Madagascar? Do you have dye capacity? You do, but you're producing other stuff. That's really interesting. That should be enough to at least get us through to the election. A radical expansion. The ideas of the Radical Party have been raising interest throughout the country, leading to potential turmoil. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet depreciate agitation are people who want crops without plowing the ground. They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the roar of its many waters. And they should expand even further. 2% of pops in Bulgaria become more radical, 20% momentum for the Radical Party. They're compromising the unity of Yugoslavia. Rural folk get salty, momentum reduced by 20%. Or someone should convince them to stop. 5% of pops in Bulgaria become more radical, momentum minus 30%. I'm going to say they should expand even further. That's going to give them a significant increase in momentum, and that's going to thrust them up to 45% of the vote. If we can get them over 50%, that's ideal. Oh, man. How are movements? Movements are doing okay. Curious to have a radical party. Something going on in Bhutan, but I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered. I'm following my own election. The news! The news is everywhere. Defamatory article. A newspaper called the Slavonia Daily News has printed a bigoted article about the Hungarian people living there. We can suppress the article or we can let it be released. He threw the tabloid across the table with a huff. Absolutely vile lies, the lot of it. Alas, that won't matter to those who read it. They'll gobble it right up. He eyed the shocked maid's face, then righted himself. Of course, they'd believe it. He hadn't given them proof to the contrary. Suppress it, reduce authority, or ignore it. -1 standard of living modifier for Hungarians in Slavonia. How many Hungarians are living in Slavonia right now? I'm leaning towards suppressing it, but let's look at the population dynamics here. No, this is Slovenia. I want Slavonia. Where is Slavonia? Here. Hungarian population, that's 30,000 people. I'm gonna suppress it. It's fine. I can cut a consumption tax. Cut my coffee consumption tax. It's completely fine. It's all fine. Alright. We're hurtling towards our election. If I can get one more event to increase the momentum of the Radical Party up towards 0, I'll be really a happy cat. If not, it's not the end of the world, but I would really, really like it. Radicalism is holding pretty okay in my present situation. Alright, the German flu spreads. It's into Bruges now. Alright, and I think that's the last state that the flu was not in before. So that should be fine. That should be fine. I should be able to, I think during the next whatsoever amount of time, I should be able to figure out how to pass a law to increase the strength of the trade unions, and then I can lock that properly in. And there is the election. So, we got our free reform. I can only get up to 38 with the radicals, which is interesting. But let's do it. Really thought they were going to snag more. Industrialists really got strong in the hands of the Liberal Party. Despite the fact that their momentum was only okay. It's a wild world. Oh, no, it just changed. Industrialists are no longer powerful. It's the petite bourgeoisie who are powerful. Okay, no, trade unions and rural folk are still powerful. I could bring in the armed forces, but I don't wish to at present. So we're in an unacceptable government. Now, I could drop taxes. If I do that... Nah, that still puts me at a number that doesn't look great. Alright. So I'm feeling pretty okay about our current situation. Now I could... Nah, can't switch off of monarchy. I wouldn't necessarily want to, but it's something I've been thinking about. However, I could go to commercialized agriculture. Industrialists would prefer that. Basically, everyone would prefer that. So let's do it. This will be a win. This will strengthen my trade unions and weaken my rural folk. It will also make my industrialists a little stronger, and I'm okay with that. Looks like Hungary is getting its territories back. Wow, Bohemia lost its war with the Socialist Revolt. That's wild. And Germany and Russia, what are you two shooting at each other about? It's this. No. You're just having a visual glitch? I think we're having a visual glitch. Alright, commercialized agriculture should go pretty fast. I don't think I'm going to worry about that too much. But I can build more stuff. So let's build more stuff. I'm currently subvening the import of dye, and I don't need to be doing that. I'm not going to subvene its export or or anything, just because I want to make sure I keep myself in a reasonable situation with respect to I don't want to goof up my industries that rely on the dyes. Sulfur mines here are not as efficient as would be ideal, and the reason is because there's no because motor industries are insufficient. Let's continue to build up our motor industries then, because we're making money. We're making money. Everyone needs motors, and we've got them. How are we doing population-wise? Unemployment is going down now that our construction sector is really significant. How's the relationship with Sweden? It could be better, but it could be worse. Relationship with Hungary is slowly improving. There's a Slavonian uprising here that's still going. United States of Austria. What kind of flag is this? Weird. Really interesting Hungarian flag. What's the flu pandemic looking like? We're almost out of the we're almost done with the flu. So that's good. I'm feeling very pleased about that. Greece is still going down in Liberty Desire. That makes me feel pleased. Romania is going down in Liberty Desire. That makes me feel pleased. So realistically, what are my odds going after... Oh, Hindustan is looking even more likely to step in. No, I'm not going to worry about it. What about the Papal States? No, United States of Greater Austria might step in, as of Mexico. And I don't necessarily... Well, I could steal Hungary if that happened. But other prospects. Let's talk about other prospects. What if I take Gaza? Would anyone try to stop me? Only measure team? Let's do it. Make this one real straightforward. Gosh, I hope my my fleet hired properly. Yes, it did. All right, beautiful. I'm going to send this fleet here. I'm going to mobilize my first army and send them to the kingdom. And that'll be all I need to do for this war. I'm really hoping this will be chill and nothing will happen. Nothing will go weird. Because things tend to go weird. Excuse me. Defensive pact with the Dutch allows Yugoslavia to build the Netherlands. No, thank you. I don't think you can do much for me, Netherlands. Well, they are a great power, but still. A little bit of a curious thing. I think now that my pandemic is basically finished, fingers crossed, I don't need quite so much bureaucracy, so I'm going to drop some levels off, and hopefully that'll... Yeah, there we go. That'll save the government some cash, hopefully. Why did I take over Gaza? Let's find out together. They have some rubber capacity. They have some dye plantations. Transvaal's got gold, which is also going to be potentially really useful to me. And Orania has some gold as well. Yeah, it's quite a bit of gold, actually. Alright, no event for the pandemic ending. It's just the pandemic is over. Beautiful. Flight to the Second Sons. With virgin land to award second sons becoming an increasingly rare commodity in Bosnia, many farmers engaged in the local university hope that a transition to commercialized agriculture will yield the revenues necessary to provide for all their offspring upon death, or, at the very least, to save a single profitable farm that can be sold off for profit. The fields are not wholly sustainable within the new models. Each farmer would be left to his or her own devices regarding each field. It is assumed that each subsequent harvest would overwork the soil. Middle management to ensure a smooth transition process is required. Appropriate training for each farmer looking to exploit the new commercialized agricultural law is also required. Recommendation: rezone land to those who can already afford to purchase it, and company instruction on best practices. These concerns make for excellent talking points. Extra enactment chance: landowners would be delighted to buy them out. Rural folk weaker, landowners stronger. Aristocrats become more loyal, peasants become more radical. The industrialists and the power of capital shall step in. Industrialists stronger, rural folk weaker. Capitalist pops more loyal, peasant pops more radical. I'm just going to grab the first one. 10% action chance is just fine. This puts us up to 29%. We have no stall chance, but that might not be forever. But I'm feeling pretty good about where things are at the moment, so I'm not inclined to upset the proverbial apple cart. I'm actually not using all my construction capacity, which is a little bit shocking. So let's look at more things to build. Art is still enormously profitable in our market. What? Let's go a little bit buck wild on arts academies. Let's build. Let's bring us up to a fair even 20 levels. That'll be nice. Now, let's take a quick look at transport capacity. We need a little bit more transport capacity in Kosovo, Western Serbia, Montenegro, Bulgaria, and Istria. So, Western Serbia will throw in 2 levels. Kosovo will throw in 2 levels. Montenegro will throw in 2 levels. Bulgaria will throw in, I think, 3 levels. Go up to 4, and then in Istria we'll throw in 3 levels to go up to 4 as well. And that'll be just fine. Plenty of capacity in those areas, and that'll be just fine. Gaza backs down. Beautiful. Let's be better friends. The Liberty Desire is going down, which is just fine with me. Zulu is already a puppet. We can start targeting these other states. So if I go after Transvaal or Oranje, oh, Britain will step in. Okay. So I don't want to do that. What about Transvaal? Britain still might step in. That's interesting. Now, what about Witu? Gaza might try to fight me on that, but I can reduce their autonomy if they do. So, let's go ahead and subjugate Witu. That'll give us access in here. I'm going to leave my land forces here. And if, Mombasa tries to make a problem or someone else, that'll be just fine. I shouldn't have a problem. Alright, those railways will take plenty of time to construct. We're in an unacceptable government right now, but them's the breaks. We are getting ticking radicalism, but not that much of it. We're getting a lot of... We're getting very strong petite bourgeoisie from our National Guard. But them's the breaks, friends. We need to have a National Guard. I don't know how else to deal with this. Turkish national movement is still at 56% activism. It's not a tragedy, but, it's something we need to keep an eye on. Great Britain colonized Zimbabwe. Well, that's fun. They are really going for all the things. Tunisia's still a German subject. What if we subjugated Algeria? Obviously, we can't do that right now because we're still in the process of taking another subject. But, it's something to think about. Something to think about. We're doing big imperialism this episode, friends. We still got literacy increasing. Tech output is continuing to be rock solid. We've got a little bit of unspent innovation spreading into tech spread. Rwanda and Rundi National Awakenings, that's cool. I'm still not producing stylish furniture or refined steel, and that's okay. Those things take a long time. I need to be a leading goods producer, and my economy is simply not that large. Well, actually, my economy is pretty large. My economy is... Yugoslavia's economy is number 5 in the world, but we're pretty far behind our nearest competitors. We're almost ahead of the United States and China, but Germany and Great Britain are both enormous. So, a Dear Wally radical revolt will owe us an obligation. Where are you at? Dear Wally radical revolt. I can't help you. Irrelevant. I don't even know why you're asking. Once we've got We2 on our side. Ooh, there's aniline. Beautiful. So now we have the ability to produce our own. We2 backs down. Okay, cool. Nice, you got him. Uh-oh. The Yugoslavian East Africa Company. Some enterprising explorers and merchants aligned with colonial interests are claiming that it would be trivial to undercut Zanzibari authority in Africa by directly obtaining treaties with local chieftains in the region. By all accounts, Zanzibar's authority is extremely weak. Letting this happen will lead to us gaining Zanzibar and the overnight collapse of Zanzibar entirely. I'm telling you, the man is half crazy. The whole scheme of his will founder the moment we let go of his hand. Cigar smoke wafted in the dim light of the drawing room as the two figures silently considered what to do. Perhaps, pondered the other voice, that just means we mustn't let go of his hand. There was a slight pause, interrupted by a chuckle. The Zanj is lovely in the spring, I'm told. We can get much from the end of Zanzibar. Yugoslavia receives 13 provinces in Zanzibar. Zanzibar gets the event The Lion with No Pride. Armed forces and industrialists become happy. Or we gain nothing from ruining Zanzibar. Armed forces and industrialists are weakened. So this is interesting. If we take the territory, I'm almost assuredly passing it to We2, because I don't wish to directly hold territory in Africa. That just seems like a losing bet for me. So let's take a look. We2 is a primarily... Oh, right. Let's improve relations. Oh, that was our thing. They were backing down. All right, that's neat. All right. I know what's going on. So they're primarily the Swahili culture. Swahili is an Eastern Bantu culture with the Swahili language, and Kenya, the state, V2, Kenya. Population-wise is mostly Somali. So they have actually pretty low acceptance. So this is interesting. Wait, hold on. I need to look at their laws. They are subjecthood. Okay, alright. So let me see. Heritage trait. 20 from heritage trait. And 30 from homeland is where they're going to be. Okay, so they could potentially expand without too many issues. Now, Zanzibar is primarily Lacustrine Bantu. That's Eastern Bantu. Language tradition Lacustrine Bantu, heritage Eastern Bantu. And compared with We2, as a country, Swahili, which is heritage Eastern Bantu. All right, beautiful. So that's going to be a shared heritage area, which is just fine. All right, let's do it. We can gain much from the end of Zanzibar. Yoink. And that gives us Yugoslavia and Zanzibar. Curiously, it doesn't give us this. And if we stole it, which we cannot currently do, why not? Relations are too high. That's quite curious. Now what about Mombasa? Alright, I can simply steal Mombasa. Would anyone try to stop me? Gaza might. A bunch of other people might, but nobody that has the ability to stop me. So let's go ahead and grab Mombasa. And this will do a conquer on, because, again, I can put all this territory in the hands of Witu, and that will make things easier. Sephardim National Awakening. Alright. I will simply put these folks here. Again, if Gaza fights, then there's the breaks. I can reduce their autonomy. Persecution of the Czech people. Czech businesses and homes have been attacked all across Croatia by groups of Croatians. They threw bricks through our shop's windows. There was a note attached that said, "Go home," but this is home. This is the only home we've ever known. This vandalism must cease. Reduce authority by 5% and -2 standard of living modifier to Czech and Croatia. Or our hands are tied for reasons -5 standard of living. I have to pick the first one. -2 standard of living is not ideal. Again, -5 is that's genocide territory. Law progress to drafting. And we also need to find something else to spend our government construction on. So I think it's time to move to automatic irrigation for one thing. Privatize, 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 privatize. Now, let's go ahead and start using rail transport for our mines. They just think they're unprofitable, but they're not. So what does that do to transport prices? It increases them significantly. Alright, so Kosovo, Albania. Wait, let's take a look at that again. The places I need to expand are Kosovo, Albania, Montenegro, Western Serbia, Croatia, and Istria. Albania, local price of transport. Come on, hit me with this number. Okay, I need like 3 more levels. Montenegro. Where are we? I need like a lot of levels. Let's do 6 more. Albania. Did I just do Albania? I just did Albania. Kosovo. I've queued in 6. Let's do 2 more. Lucan Awakening. Now, Croatia is going to be just fine. Let's do 3 levels. And then, was it Istria where I've got a real shortage? It is. Let's do another 4 levels. And that'll be just fine. That'll be enough to use up my construction capacity for some time now. I've got significant gold reserves. How is the investment pool doing? The investment pool is doing okay. I'm feeling pretty good about that. Is Occitania a republic? They are a universal suffrage parliamentary republic. Let's be better friends. Let's be better friends. I could expel diplomats from Zanzibar to reduce relations fast, but I don't think that's worth it. I am starting to really accrue some radicals from low government legitimacy, but I think it's going to be worth it overall. Again, once we can hand this territory over to Witu, our new friends, life will be really good. Their liberty desire is going down, which is also pleasing to me. So that's interesting, because I think they... Maybe I'm silly. This is costing us a significant amount of cash, but I'm doing fine for cash right now, so I'm not too worried about it. Let's go ahead and naval invade. Oh, interesting. I can load in multiple armies when invading. That's neat. I did not know that. Oh, this is taking a long time because our legitimacy is not great. I see. Well, hopefully that'll improve things as time goes by. Now, our current... our next election is in 1905. That's a ways away. In fact, it will be towards the end of the episode. Maybe I missed. Have I missed the timing? I may miss the timing, or maybe I'm simply going slower than I have been before. Students rally to the Hungarian national movement. That's interesting. A group of students attending the university in Slavonia have arranged a demonstration in support of the Hungarian national movement. The display has inspired other students to join the cause. The lecture hall was barren. There were always one or two students missing for illnesses, travel, or family occasions, but nothing of this scale. There were now 3 or 4 students per row. There were now only 3 or 4 students per row, each thrown into sharp contrast by the empty seats at their sides. It was a material for a lecture of its own, he thought. Like a heap of sand whose grains had blown away one after another until its form suddenly changed, so followed what had once been a class. The youth will lead Yugoslavia into the future, stronger Hungarian national movement, increase pop political strength, reduce university throughput, or they ought to focus on their studies. Stronger universal pop strength and reduce university throughput, but only half as much. No increase the strength of the Hungarian national movement, but 5% of academics pops become more radical. I'm going to pick the second one. I don't wish to have a stronger Hungarian national movement. We're doing just fine without one. The entrenched front. Heavy usage of trenches in Kenya by Dragica Bozinovic has turned the land into a blasted hellscape. The stalemate cannot last forever, but it's not clear what the best way forward is. Have you ever been there in the trenches? It's less lonely than you'd think. You have friends everywhere. The rats will be with you every day and night. And even when your mates die, they'll stay right there with you just below in the mud. We must entrench further in Kenya. Bozinovic gains Trench Rat. Kenya gets Zone Rouge, which increases mortality and reduces agriculture, plantation, and ranch throughput, as well as 10% devastation. We have 2 options here. Number 1 is we can't let our defenses stagnate. Smaller modifiers for Kenya, less devastation. The same set of modifiers, but progress on defense and depth. Or we need a breakthrough. Same modifiers as we can't let our defenses stagnate for Kenya, but instead of progress on defense and depth, it's progress on stormtroopers. I'm going to go with the defense and depth one. I think that's going to be a more of an immediate benefit in the short term, and that's going to be useful to me. My societies are going back towards their set point as well, which is improving the overall situation of my politics, although at present my primary issue is low legitimacy in the government, which I can't really solve. Successful naval invasion. We've got a hold of the state. This war should be finishing out really, really soon. I really hope I didn't just take only half of the territory I wanted to take, but I think I did. Well, them's the breaks. I'll always be able to go after them later. Hey, we're in voting for commercialized agriculture. Wonderful. There we go. So, we too. Do I hand over the territory right away? I don't think I do. I don't think I do. Not yet. Soon. Soon I'll hand over the territory. I'm going to give them knowledge sharing. That's going to make their liberty desire go down even faster. Now, how are my prospects of going after... Do I give knowledge sharing to Gaza? I think I do. Now, my older subjects... I think I can safely withdraw knowledge sharing without causing a problem. Romania is pretty low in liberty desire. And Greece is going down in liberty desire really significantly. So I think that's fine. Alright. Is there anyone else I want to go after here? So I could go after another one of these countries in the Horn of Africa. That would be useful. I could form a large Somaliland. What culture are these countries? They're all Somali and Sunni. Ooh, actually, I should check the religion spread in Zanzibar. Religion spread is mostly Ibadi. Ibadi is Islamic. Okay. Alright, so that's fine. So that's... So, and Sunni is also Islamic. So, With Witu, they're doing state religion. -10 acceptance from religious trait groups. Ooh, that's actually not ideal. Can I release any body state? Here. I cannot. I do not have the I do not have the ability to release a subject state here. You know, that's not my favorite. That's not my favorite thing. What if I snag Tungi? Oh boy, this country is down bad. I don't want to snag Tungi. I don't have the ability to colonize inward in here, and even if I did, I wouldn't have the necessary malaria prevention. Oh no, I have quinine, so I would be able to. Them's the breaks. Now, again, what about... Let me take another quick look at Zanzibar. Zanzibar I'm still damaging relations with, so that's fine. That's a slow process. I think Warsangali is maybe doing best. They're at the highest standard of living. On the other hand... Or no, Majortine's the higher standard of living. Let's snag Majortine and turn them into a Somalia. It'll depend on who I can rely on. So, Shewa might try to stop me. Egypt might try to stop me. Witu might try to stop me. Okay, now what about the others? Shewa will very much protect Galeti, but Egypt will not. So that makes Galeti a better target. What about Warsangali? Similar spread. Isak. Again, Shewa will step in, but none of the others will. Interesting. And Egypt, is there a reason you would want to fight me about stuff? And more importantly, do you have the capacity to fight me? Not really. I'm significantly outweighing you in tech. Let's go for Majortine. But I could take a protectorate over Shewa, which is something I do really strongly desire. If they fight, which they might. So let's snag Galeti. We'll see if we can bumble our way in there. Once again, I will mobilize the first army. We'll station them right there in Zanzibar. And we'll hope that Shewa will step in as well. And then I can turn them into a subject state. And that will be nice. And I'll be very pleased with that. And nobody will be big mad. Hopefully. Switzerland is being cut in half. Somebody's invading France. Oh no, this is a Norman uprising. France, you really beefed it. I don't know what's going on over there. But you're really down bad. Ooh, I could go after Hungary though. Oh no, I can't because they're a subject of the Austrians once again. All right, come on, Shewa. Come on, Shewa. Russia likely to step in, but not going to on account of their they're not able to. Corporatist movement. Oh, that's interesting. I haven't had a corporatist movement in a while. Still got a pretty strong labor movement. And we're still bashing away at commercialized agriculture. Again, it's taking forever on account of my government is not that legitimate, which is also creating a little bit of a radicalization problem for me. Hopefully it won't be too bad. I could do a massive drop in taxes, but that would reduce my flexibility. Maybe it's the right call. quite a bit of gold in the pot. I could ease off on building stuff. My investment pool is gaining size at a significant speed. So maybe that would be the right call. Maybe it would be the right call. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe. Shewa, you sure you don't want to fight me, Shewa? Shewa, we could be enemies. Wouldn't you like to be frenemies? By which I mean future separatists. There's the war. Popping off. No big deal. I've got the capacity. The naval capacity. I can win. I can win with no problems. All right, railways are almost done. Let's drop taxes down. This might be a mistake. Wittu colonized Rift Valley. That should be closing out the rest of this area. And there's commercialized agriculture. Wonderful. It's actually really, really good. Protests across Montenegro. The Turkish national movement has organized mass protests across the Montenegro region. While the protests have remained peaceful for now, local authorities have raised concerns about possible violence. It was more people than he'd ever seen. Ketinj, once quiet and known for an almost pastoral character, had come alive with shouting voices and waving flags. He wondered if any of his neighbors were in that crowd. He'd always thought that they had shared nothing in common with he shared nothing in common with them. Maybe he was wrong. Allow them to air their concerns. Stronger Turkish national movement. 2% of pops in Montenegro become more loyalist. Reduced mortality per turmoil. Extra radicals from political movements increased pop political strength. Or the authorities must put a halt to these displays. 2% of pops in Montenegro become more radical instead. Increased state penalties from turmoil. Significantly increased radicals from political movements. I'm going to go with the first one. Slightly stronger Turkish national movement. Not that big of a deal. Again, it's their activism that's a potential problem. And I am suppressing them to the greatest extent allowed by law, which is not that much. Gold reserves are looking good. Belgium sides with Tunisia in a diplomatic play against the German Empire. Let's take a look at that. Civilizing mission, okay, not really my bag. So the German Empire wants to reduce Tunisian autonomy and change the regime. They're going to try to take Wallonia back from the Belgians. Meanwhile, the Tunisians are going to try to get regime change in Tahiti and to humiliate the Germans. That seems completely unrealistic. I'm not going to worry about it. We have an Aquitanian uprising in Aquitaine, so that's interesting. We have a Norman uprising in France. Wow, France really beefed this. I don't know what's going on with them. The French Republic has become an insignificant power. That's absurd. Ridiculous, even. How could a country like France become so insignificant? And more importantly... what if I took them as a protectorate? Now, I don't need my... Well, my contested government's okay. I've got commercialized agriculture now. I could change up National Guard for guaranteed liberties. That would make my petite bourgeoisie very, very unhappy. Rural folk would support it. That would give me some success chance. It would give me some stall chance. National Guard is increasing the strength of the petite bourgeoisie. Nah, I think we're good. I think we're good where we are. Now, if I went to workers' protections, that would make my industrialists huge mad. But it would increase my standard of living and my, and reduce, mortality. If I wanted to just go to regulatory bodies, that would reduce mortality only. But it wouldn't increase standard of living that much. I could also enact women's suffrage, which my petite bourgeoisie would be furious about. But I am inclined to do. I am inclined to do this. Finally, I could go to right to associate or corporatized unions. So corporatized unions is what? Extra radicals and loyalists for standard of living changes, weaker socialist, anarchist, and communist movement pop attraction. Labor associations are placed under the control of the state through either mandatory amalgamation to a single national union or the incorporation of existing associations into state functions. As opposed to right to associate, which is stronger trade unions, reduced radicals from political movements, stronger labor movement. I think I'm going to go with right to associate. Oh man, but everyone will be mad about that. Gosh dang. Stupid petite bourgeoisie. Why are you trying to create problems for me? I'm trying to liberalize too fast. I think that's the real issue. Beautiful. Galeti is a protectorate now. The Western Thrace cyclone. A cyclone has hit the state of Western Thrace from the sea, tearing through homes and people alike. It destroyed our home and wrecked my fishing boat. My family might be safe, but how am I going to feed them? A tragedy, but what can be done? 20% devastation. Or we should put some money into relief, 10% devastation, and a chunk of government expenses. I'm going to do the second. We're going to protect our people. That's our thing. Alright, now that we've got Galeti on our side, let's start going after other places. This is all technically one state, right? Yes. So if I go after Isak next... Again, Shewa might step in. If I go after Majertine, though... Oh, is do I have good relations with Majertine? It seems I do. Alright, so we'll start... That was dumb of me. I'm going to start damaging relations. Orsangali were neutral. Wouldn't be the end of the world if I got into a fight with Egypt. But let's go after Isak next. In Isak, we're doing a contra-state war goal. Again, nobody really likely to step in here. Maybe Warsangali, but it wouldn't be the end of the world if Warsangali step in. Because then I would be able to take them. Now, I once again didn't look at what it would be like if I conquered France, but let's I am gonna think about it. I can support more declared interests. Well, look at that. Snag England and Scandinavia and Livonia. I'm really interested. I'm so interested. Chock full of interest. Let's take a quick look at our don't crash game at our local prices for transport. Bosnia and Western Serbia and Serbia Elada are actually short. So let's go ahead and build up a little bit more transport in those areas. Bosnia, how short are you? Let's go 3 levels here. Was it Western Serbia where we had a shortage? Yeah, Western Serbia's got a bit of a shortage. 4 levels here. Let's take a look at the numbers again. Still a little bit shortage in Kosovo, Eastern Serbia, and Montenegro. I think I can solve that by building a little bit more. And I am, unfortunately, once again, a little bit short on bureaucracy, so we'll build up just a bit more of government admin. Hello, who are you? You are a socialist revolt in Spain. Wow, cheapers. Well, it's an obligation if we'll back them. Spain, what's your thing? You're part of the Grand Alliance. You're still on your starting leader, which is a little bit of a shock. What kind of an army have you got? Mobile artillery, okay. Line infantry, mobile artillery. You can't take me in a fight. It's an interesting animal. On the other hand, Spanish social... Let me... Who's likely to get involved here? The Germans are likely to align with the government, as the Russians and the Sudan Piedmontese and the Mexicans and the Portuguese. Nah, I'm not gonna... I don't want to fight a bunch of different nations. I don't want to fight some kind of 7-nation army here. We too, you're coming with me. We too, supporting separatism. Well, don't do that. You're going to create a problem for yourself. The United States of America is going after Egypt to conquer Lower and Upper Egypt. USA, what are you doing? Johnny? Johnny, what are you doing? How could you do this? Sheila sides with Egypt. Alright, so once again, let's just go ahead and land. None of this is going to be that complicated. We're going to incorporate this territory into Galeti, who I'm now realizing I should be improving relations with, and perhaps offering knowledge. I'm really screwing my own text spread here, but it's fine. I've got plenty of... Wow, I am currently one of the top steel producers in the world. I'm feeling very pleased by that. So good at stuff. Alright, once this is done, I'm gonna see what it looks like if I try to 106 infamy. Okay, alright. So I'm not gonna do that. But I just want you, my viewers, to know that I'm thinking about it. And I think it would be pretty funny and based if I did it. Don't crash, Vicky3. Peasants... Unemployment's going up a little bit, which I don't love. How's the investment pool doing? Investment pool is steadily increasing in size. GP ownership is still 64%. I've got a lot of levels owned by Sweden. Still. I am steadily improving relations with the Swedes. Hold on. Yes, I am. They're up here. Ah, beautiful. Electricity. Excellent. I am going to electrify the country. There's a smarter way to do this. Ooh, I have training method streamlining, which I didn't even know I had. Alright. I have the ability to go to electric things, but I don't have any of those yet. Urban centers. Alright. Let's get building. I'm actually going to electrify all of Yugoslavia, and then we're going to electrify our subject states in Europe as well. And then we're going to go to electric production methods for our urban centers. Tuscan diplomatic play against us. What an interesting situation. Tuscany, what are you trying to do? You're trying to unify Italy. Well, that's curious. Alright, that's going to put us against the Germans. Really interesting. We've got the Austrians, our subjects, obviously, and who else? Well, this is a really curious situation. Let's raise our conscripts. This is wild. Hopefully I finish out with Isak pretty fast, because my mana backs down. I'm going to raise my conscripts with the first Serbian army. I think I can take that without a problem. Alright, beautiful. So there's Isak taken, and now I can pass this territory to Galeti. I'm going to wait until their liberty desire is lower. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait until their liberty desire is lower so that I can do this optimally. Alright. So, first Serbian army. We're going back to Serbia. Ah, right, because I have all the rest of the Italian states in my corner here. And, oh, there is a front, and it's over here. Okay, German Empire sides of Tuscany. Alright, so I need to put my ability supporting separatism. Alright. So let's get first Serbian army onto the border with Germany. Let's get this army on defense. Let's go ahead and snag a rural folk fella. He's a feminist. Put him on defense, and then our other army still has only the one guy. We'll put him on adamant defense. Can I get another guy? I can only get an armed forces guy, but he is a stalwart defender. Reserves reduce morale loss. That's not bad at all. Let's go ahead and put him on defense. Can we get any more? No. Alright. Hoping for another guy aligned with the trade unions, but that seems unlikely. Alright. So from here, I think I'm going to have to go back to Midland taxation. I do still wish to electrify the country. I think that will happen in very good time. So I'm not going to stop building stuff, and hopefully that won't completely annihilate my national debt situation as we get going here. We really do have a lot of German forces. Oh my gosh, the Brits are going after Brazil. Perhaps... Well, they're on their way there. As far as they're gonna be... Oh my gosh, we're a main furniture producer. This is beautiful. I'm feeling so pleased. I am a hero. I am a captain of industry. Oh, it's because the other... Oh, I'm so dumb! I had units going there because this other army. It's not that my closer army isn't nearby. They are nearby. I still think this is the primary front. I don't need to hold this one nearly as badly, but I will hold it pretty badly. So, first Yugoslavia. Head there, please. German Empire. Do you have flotillas? You have some. So I'll need to be conscientious. Ooh, actually. They're chasing me, which is fine. War with Tuscany. Alright, so, units are still moving. Our armies are getting progressively stronger as time goes by, which is good. I think I actually might need to increase the size of my conscript forces, because my conscript forces were organized in a time period where I was a much smaller country. So, let's go ahead and throw an additional 30 levels of infantry. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. An additional 20 levels of artillery. 5, 10, 15, 20. An additional 5 levels of cavalry to our primary army, and then we'll do the same for our secondary army. 5, 10, 15, 25, 30. 5, 10, 15, 20. How's my market doing? Market is doing just fine. Wow, we're actually going... Oh no, this is Germany. I'm like, are we winning on offense? No, we're not winning on offense. boy, howdy. I hope they don't win. I quite like Istria. Dang it, Germany! I can't believe you've done this. I can't believe you've done this, Germany. I'm going to increase supply costs because I need better mobilization methods. Let's spend the money. Let's spend that money. I've already got military wages on high. I may need to increase the size of my conscript forces even further, which would be a little bit ludicrous, but I think it's actually got to be done. So, 5, 10, 15, 25, 30, 5, 10, 15, 20, and 5. And then we'll do the same with the first army. 5, 10, 15, 25, 30. 5, 10, 15, 20. And then finally for the Lancers, 5. Let's get on the border with Tuscany and see if maybe the play isn't just close out that front. Let's see if we can close out that front. Because maybe we can, and if we can, then that's the end of the war right there. Not loving our chances, but I want to stay on advance because I want to get going forward. Alright, let's get the war moving. Maybe we actually move this secondary to the Austrian capital. I think that's the play. I think the eastern Austrian states are just fine. I don't need to worry about them too much. Japan went after Ida Bas. Them's the breaks. Right, how are things looking in here? We're not doing too well on attack or on defense here, which is a bit of a shame. We will continue to increase in strength, but things are difficult. Ooh, photographs of Yugoslavia. I really needed this event. It has been suggested that we take time and distribute some pictures of our country's most famous landmarks. So many wonderful places all across our country. It just seems right that the world gets to see them. We should distribute them internationally, 5% prestige. We should distribute them domestically, 20 legitimacy. I'm going to go with the second one. That is going to put me in a legitimate government. And that is going to make me really, really happy. All right. Now, that's going to make everyone in my country more chill. An exile at the gates. The relatively lenient Yugoslavian immigration system has long been attractive to those fleeing their home nations. Recently, August Vidasek has petitioned to join the stream of people moving to Yugoslavia. It was one name on a very, very long list, one that had passed through multiple layers of bureaucracy before being noticed. One fateful day, however, one clerk, at the end of his shift, pointed at the name and spoke those fatal words. I could swear I've heard of him before. August Vidasek is a radical aligned with the rural folk. Yeah, that's fine. Eventually, too, he will be Yugoslavian. He joins in. He's a Czech. Or we will not have someone like this regardless of president, intelligentsia, mad. I'm going to go with the first one. That's fine. You can join the country. Force comparison is improving in this area here as the enemy pushes forward. So I'm hoping maybe that helps us. Because again, if we can seize this territory, maybe that's the end of the war. Spread thin, the limited political resources of the landowners have made the group's leadership question its membership in both the Yugoslavian Austrian Society and the Anti-Sicilian Association. And for office supplies, on average, the auditor turned a page to the relevant entry and ran his eyes down the column. 300 crowns per month. For the man who sat across from him, the world was beginning to spin. Are you certain? And 1,200 for work-related travel expenses. Excuse me, can I have a copy of the manifest? I need to meet with my colleagues at once. There's no reason to remain in the Yugoslavian Austrian Society. They leave the Yugoslavian Austrian Society. Membership of the Anti-Sicilian Association is no longer useful. They leave the Anti-Sicilian Association, or abandoning either would be unwise. They get 20% weaker. I'm actually going to go with the first one. I don't want or need a Yugoslavian Austrian Society, to be completely honest. This benefits me basically none. Alright, so on our southern front, I think I actually am going to put my commanders on defense. I hope that I can get myself to a good point with that force comparison, defending against enemy attacks, and maybe we'll all get into good stead. Spain side with Sardinia and Piedmont on something. This army is still on defense. How long have we been at this? Oh my goodness, it's like 2 hours and 45. Well, we're not even at 35. Gosh. I may need to do an even larger increase to my conscription levels, absurd as that is. I think it's what's going to have to happen, in fact. I think I'm gonna have to take a huge proportion of the country under arms, to be completely honest. So let's do that. Well, I've still got a long way to go. I don't need to go too fast on that. I'm rapidly hurtling towards the end of the year. Alright, force comparison here is doing better. Again, if we can get a solid force comparison, I can start going forward. This number is improving. Again, due to us being on defense and dealing a lot of damage to the enemy. So I'm hoping maybe... I think if we can win one more battle here, then we're clean. Of course, our allies have decided to attack. And that means we're potentially in there as well. And that's reducing our force comparison. So, you know, we're doing our best. I might need to move the army off of here. I really wish these fronts would merge. Wow, and this attack just completely wiped out all of our force comparison improvement that we brought up. That is the one thing that makes it hard to play wars alongside the AI, but them's the breaks. So, with that having been said, we've only done 9 years instead of typically 10, but it has been a really long 9 years, and I've accomplished a lot. We're at the 4th position in terms of the prestige rankings, which is where we were. The Austro-Hungarian Empire has nigh on completely collapsed. The French Republic is in the process of splitting off into many small states. And everything's going kind of buck wild over there. We developed ourselves a little bit of an African empire. I can do my thing with Witu. Alright. I'm going to decrease Witu's autonomy. I'm going to reduce their subject payments. And then I'm going to hand them... I can't grant them the state because I'm in a war. Well, that was dumb, but them's the breaks. Galeti I will eventually do the same with as time goes by. Maybe I'll need to write myself up a to-do list. Anyway, that is all the time we've got for this episode, my nerds. I have had fun. I hope you all have had fun as well, and I will see you on the other side.